Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be doing another block from these Annie's Crochet Afghan Block of the Month Club. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are continuing these blocks. I've made about 10 or 11 of these, I don't know, so far. And today we're going to be doing block 5 out of the block 4 through 6 booklet. If you don't know about Annie's, there are a monthly subscription kit, and you can get them in frequencies of once or twice a month. You set it. And each kit is around... with tax and shipping, for me, I think it was around like $27. In the first kit, you will get a bunch of stitch markers, I think a needle. You will get your crochet hooks, and then you'll get 3 spools of yarn with the instructional booklet. And then every other kit after that, you're just going to get the instructions with the coinciding yarn. Sometimes it's usually 3 spools, or it's obviously the number of blocks you're going to be doing for that instruction. Alright, so due to copyright, I cannot share any of the detailed information in this booklet. What I can do for you is teach you how to do these stitches at least 3 times step by step. So if you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me talk, you can lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. Okay, so I do these videos the way that would make my life easier. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to make your life easier. So some people are visual learners. Some can do it by reading, so definitely go through these instructions, see all the help that they have in there. And if it doesn't help, you can always refer to my videos. If my videos don't help, you might have to find another form of teaching. Okay, so let's get straight into this. We are going to be using this yarn today, and normally... they'll hide the outside end inside the spool, so you can kind of see what's going on in here. You just pulled it out. This piece you don't want, because if we use this piece, you have to remove the band, and it's going to roll around to unravel, which is very annoying. So what I'm going to do is just wrap this around the spool under this band, and I'm going to go and try to find the other end on the inside of the spool. Sometimes it's just chilling right there and you can pick it out clear as day. Other times you're not going to see it that easily, and you're going to have to just randomly pull a piece and hope for the best. Okay, so it's not on that side. Let's check the other side. Okay. And I don't believe I'm seeing it, but I'm gonna just take a random, I just picked a random piece, and I'm gonna start pulling it out. Oh, and it luckily was the other end. Sometimes you'll get big chunks, sometimes you'll get little chunks. In this case, I got lucky and pulled out the end there. But that's okay, because what I'm gonna do is, I have a little, it's not even a paperweight really, it's just a thing I have on my desk. And it's on the spool right here, so that when I pull my feeder yarn, it's pulling like this. Look how easy, it's not rolling around. That's what you want. No, so I can stop doing that. Let's get started. Alright, so we're going to need the larger hook for this, and we are going to cast on with a slip knot. So what you need to do is take your ring, pinky, and thumb and hold one end. Take your index and middle and hold the other. Now I'm going to take your crochet hook, and we're going to lie it perpendicular to the yarn. We're going to go down, out, and around to create this loop around the hook. You can slide your hook so easily up and down this yarn. We're going to pull it down towards the left thumb. Take your right middle finger and just hold it where it crosses so that we can let go of our left hand. Now I'm going to gather up some feeder yarn. I'm going to re-pinch this end as low as you can possibly go. Then I'm going to drag my hook closer to my thumb and pinch it right where it crosses, like that, so that I can't move my yarn anymore. I can't move my crochet hook up and down anymore. Alright, so now we're going to yarn over. So that's basically taking the feeder yarn and putting it over the hook. So yarn over, and then we're going to pull this strand through the loop like this. Like that. Then I'm going to overhand my hook. I'm going to re-pinch my end here. And this knot that's in the middle, I'm going to push it towards my left thumb. And while I'm doing that, the knot's going to tighten up. You want to keep pushing it towards your left thumb until you cannot push it any longer, whether it's butt up against the thumb or the knot is too tight to push anymore. Okay, so then from here, you want to take your middle finger and thumb and grab that little excess piece and pull it just a little bit more to make that knot nice and snug. You don't have to pull it too hard, but then we're going to take the knot and just pull it up towards the hook. So you have that. All right, now we can start. Okay, so for round 1, we have to start off with making a bunch of chains. The chains, which is CH, it is the basic stitch in crocheting. So let me show you how to do that. What you want to do is hold on to the knot here to stabilize your project. And what we're going to do is a yarn over. So we're going to take this feeder yarn and put it over the hook. So yarn over. Then we're going to take this strand and pull it through this loop. And that's pretty much a chain stitch. So now a chain stitch is made up of 3 loops. You have a loop on this side, a loop on the other side. If you turn it on its side, you can see the back loop or the back hump right here. Alright, let's do another one. So we're going to yarn over. Then we're going to pull the strand through this loop. And now we have 2 chains. It's starting to look like a braid. Each chain is made up of 3 strands. We have 1 here, 1 here, turn it on its side, and you have a back hump right here. All right, let's do another one. So yarn over, and then we're going to pull the strand through the loop. Hold on. And we have 3 chains, again, made out of 3 loops each chain. Here's one, here's the other, turn it on its side, and you have a back loop right here. Alright, so now that I've shown you how to do 3 chains step by step, you can go ahead and rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing chains on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and complete the rest of the chains required for row 1, and then I'll show you what to do next. Alright, and then when you're done making all the chains, I'm just going to go off camera real quick and I'm just going to count back to see if I have the right number of stitches. You always want to double check this number so that you are in check with the instructions. If you are off and you don't know about it till later, it's going to be harder to fix it. Right, and I definitely made a lot more than I needed to. Okay, if you found that you've made more than you need, you can always remove the hook and just slowly pull out the yarn. All right. So crochet is very forgiving if you do it nice and neat. All right, so the next part of this is we're going to be learning how to do a DC, which is double crochet stitch. Now, when you are doing chain stitches and then you're going to do a row right on top of it, depending on the type of stitch is the number of chains you have to skip. So because this is pretty much universal from kit to kit, instruction to instruction, anywhere you go, I'm going to tell you about this part. So double crochet stitch is about 3 chain stitches high. So in the instruction it tells you to use the 4th hook from the chain. So let me explain why. Because like I said, it takes 3 chains to make the height of a double crochet stitch. They want you to start stitching in the 4th stitch. So hopefully that made sense. Alright, so let's learn how to do a double crochet stitch. And again, I showed you the pieces of each chain because I'm going to be using the back humps to put in my hook. Alright, so first we're going to do is yarn over, then we're going to count the 4th chain from the hook, and then I'm going to turn this chain link on its side, and I'm going to stick my hook into that back hump that I showed you. Alright, then from here we're going to yarn over, we're going to pull this through 1 loop, and then we're going to yarn over, we're going to pull this through 2 loops, we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull this through 2 loops. So that is a double crochet stitch, and then we have our 3 chains here to make the height. Alright, and in the instruction it's counting this 3 chains as 1 double crochet stitch, so you're going to have to include this in your stitch count. Okay, at the end of the rows there's a parenthesis and it's going to tell you how many stitches you have, how many spaces you're supposed to have, stuff like that. So whatever number's in there, you want it to match all the stitches you've made. Okay, so now after doing this, we're going to look at the next section, which are brackets. So in the instruction, there's a bracket, and it includes all this instruction to make certain stitches. Now, not to be overwhelmed, we can take each section inside this bracket, but we know that the brackets are going to be repeated more than once. So if you look at the end of that bracket, it tells you, sometimes it'll tell you a number, sometimes it'll tell you times or X and a number. So you just have to see what it says at the end of that bracket and follow that. But for now, let's focus this first time on this bracket, taking it section by section. So what it's telling you first is to make chains. So go ahead and make your chains. I've shown you how to do that at least 3 times. And then the next section is telling you to SK. So SK stands for skip. So we are going to skip the number of chains it tells you to skip down here. All right. And then what we're going to do is another double crochet stitch. So let's yarn over, skip the number of chains that they ask you to skip, and then we're going to stick our hook into the next stitch after that, back hump only. And then we're going to yarn over, going to pull the strand through one loop. Then we're going to yarn over. We're going to pull this strand through two loops, yarn over, and then we're going to pull this strand through the remaining two loops. So that's another double crochet stitch. Let me show you how to do this one more time. So yarn over. This time we're just going to stick our hook into the next stitch here, back hump only. Now we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through two loops. Then we're going to yarn over again and pull through those two loops. So we have another double crochet stitch. Now, if you want to take a quick look, if you look at the top of your project, you have your braids. It looks nice and neat. Because I'm using the back humps, if you flip this upside down, you can see that the braid is also continuing on the bottom side, and that's why I like to do it. All right, so now that we've reached the end of the bracket, we're going to repeat it. So let me just show you how to repeat it. We're going to start at the beginning of the bracket. So make your chains. Okay. Then we're going to skip the number of chains it tells you to skip, because we're going to do a double crochet stitch. Use the back hump only. Okay. And then once you get to the end of that bracket, we're going to repeat it again. So let me show you how to repeat it one more time. You're going to make your chains. Then you're going to skip your chains on the bottom here, because then we're going to do a double crochet stitch into the back hump. Okay. And then you just repeat it again. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this row, and then we're going to come back in and I'm going to show you what to do next. Make sure when you do this, you're not splitting the yarn, that you're getting every strand. That's going to help you if you ever have to unravel your project. If you don't do a neat job, it's going to be very hard to unravel it. And make sure of that count. Kind of messed up, so I got to do it over again. when you get to that last one, you have that little excess piece. You can try to stitch around it. So when you put your hook in, you can just flatten that excess piece and then do your yarn over to complete that double crochet stitch. And then hopefully it'll stay in there. If it doesn't stay in there, we can always hide it when we sew. When we do the edge, if it doesn't hide at the edge, we could always hide it when we sew everything together. But I finished the row. And again, the parentheses at the end will tell you how many spaces you're supposed to have versus the number of double crochet stitches you need. So don't forget to always check the count on that before it turns into a bigger problem. But after we do that, we're going to turn our project. So you're just going to flip this side to the underside like that. So now our stitches are back to our left, which is what we need to start the new row. Okay, so we're going to be doing row 2. And it's telling us to do, this is pretty much going to be the height, like I said, which is pretty universal, so I can tell you this part. So we're going to do our 3 chains. And again, they're saying this is counting as 1 double crochet stitch. So it's going to eat that first chain that you would normally put your hook in. This is taking place of that, so we're not going to use that first stitch here. All right. Then it also says now that we're going to be doing a shell. Okay. And this is part of their special stitches. And sometimes they're tough. This one I don't think is that bad. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the double crochet stitches that they're asking you to do. Okay. All right, so let's do that now. Okay, and just keep track of the number of stitches you're making for this shell. Okay. And so we did the shell, and now it's telling us to repeat this all the way down the row. Okay, so let's do that now. And then when we get to the end, I'll come back in and I'll tell you what to do next. All right, so we went all the way down the row and we have these stitches left. What we have to do now is skip one, and 3 chains that we had used, which counts as 1 double crochet stitch, we have to put our hook at the top of that. So where you see your 3 chains, put your hook at the top as if it were a double crochet stitch. Oh, sorry, don't forget to yarn over. We're doing a double crochet stitch. So yarn over and then stick your hook into that top chain of those 3 chains, acting as a double crochet stitch, and then finish your double crochet stitch. And then that's it. Then we're going to turn. Okay. So now we're going to do row 3. So let's go get some yarn here. All right, so what we're going to do now is you're going to build the height of the row, which is the 3 stitches. And then of course this is counting as a double crochet stitch. So now we have brackets again. So let's take this section by section, and it's telling us to do the double crochet stitch. So do that where indicated. And then what we're going to be doing is chains. So make your chains. And then we're going to be doing a double crochet stitch at the end of that shell. So do that now. And that's pretty much the bracket. It wants you to repeat the whole thing all the way down the row. So we'll do that now. Okay, and then what it wants you to do is, again, put a double crochet stitch in the top chain of that 3 chains that we did, acting like a double crochet stitch. And now we've finished row 3. Now we're at a section where we're going to start repeating rows. So you'll need these stitch markers. What I'm going to do is place this on top of the last stitch we made. So you see this braid right here. I'm just going to slip the stitch marker just under it, and you want to make sure you're not splitting it, so you can lift this up. And if it's nice and clear, that means you did not split any of the yarn, which is good. This is going to indicate that we're working on rows 4 right now. So what we need are more stitch markers. We want to add up to 15, or count up to 15. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And then of course I like to double count. So if this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so now this will help me keep track of how many rows I'm doing. I could stop for an hour, a day, a month, a year, and as long as I keep my stitch markers here, I'll know what row I'm on. So after you've marked your last stitch, we're going to turn, gather up your yarn, and we're pretty much going to alternate rows 2 through 3. Okay, it tells you the number of times to do it. If you don't want to keep track of those times, you have your stitch markers. And then I'll come back in at the end, and we'll do round 16. But I'm going to do the rest in silence. All right, so I completed all the rows. We're going to do round 16. So what we're going to do is rotate your block clockwise, because we're going to be working with this edge. So I left the stitch markers in here. I'm actually going to add more, a lot more, because we have to evenly distribute single crochet stitches across this length. And I'm going to use the stitch markers from myself to know where to put my hook in. Because if you don't do that, I mean, you can try it without, but you don't want to end up with one section filled with single crochet stitches and then you're left trying to stretch your single crochet stitches to the other end. So let me just go in, and I'm gonna stop clip right here and put my stitch markers in. You can go do the same thing as well, and then I'll pop back in and we'll start round 16. All right, so I put in my stitch markers as best as I can. It doesn't have to be crazy even. I wish they would work with better numbers, because, you know, you can't make even an odd number. Sometimes you can, but it's more difficult. All right, so let us start this edging here. What we're going to do is chain 1 for the height of the single crochet stitch. Now that's pretty much universal, so you'll see that in most instructions. So chain 1, and I'm going to show you how to do a single crochet stitch. So where you've put your stitch markers, we're going to put our hook in there. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And then you can remove these as you go. So that was one single crochet stitch. Let's do another one. Stick your hook into the next stitch marker, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So that's another single crochet stitch. One more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the next stitch marker. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. All right, so let me just take this second here to show you what they look like. So here's the single crochet stitches. Looking at the front, we have the front loops here and the back loops here. If we turn it on its top side, you can see that they have a nice braid here. Okay, so I'm just going to go continue all the way down to the other corner, and then I'll show you what to do next. If you don't have enough stitch markers, I can't remember how many exactly they give you, you can go on my Amazon storefront. I have linked 2 sellers that have these stitch markers. I used their star rating to find them. I have not purchased any from them yet, so if you don't feel confident in using those sellers, at least you can look at the title and do your own search for stitch markers. You could also find them at a hobby store. Oh no, you know what? I've been so in the zone. Keep track of your stitch count, because I know I've been removing these. I think the one I just removed I didn't even do yet. Hold on. I'm good. All right, that was a bit of a scare. Okay, once you've completed one side, we now have to turn the corner. So, in the corner, we're going to do a number of single crochet stitches. So do that now. And how you do that is you just go back into the same stitch that you just used and put the number of single crochet stitches it's asking you to. Okay. Then for the bottom side, because we had used the back hump, we have this nice braid that we can easily count our stitches on. So you're going to put the same number of single crochet stitches on this end. So let's do that now. Get more yarn. Okay, and then when you get to that corner, we're going to do our single crochet stitches in here. All right. So now I'm going to take this opportunity to put my stitch markers in for this side. Be right back. All right. So I've put the stitch markers in on this side, and we are going to do our single crochet stitches. Same thing, just remove the stitch markers as you work them so that you don't have to do it all later. Okay, so I have one more corner left to do. Well, actually two more corners, but this is the last side that I have to do. Okay, so like we did before, we're just going to even out the stitches for this end, and then we have this corner left to do. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to put in the last corner. And then we have to join the other side. So we have to go to the first single crochet stitch we made. Remember we did the chain one, so it's not going to be this one right here. So we're going to go into the first single crochet stitch we did here, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through everything off your hook. All right, and then after that, you're going to cut about 1 inch or so of your yarn, and then we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull through the loop all the way out, and then you're going to pull this knot closed to make it tight, and then we're just going to weave in and out of the stitches here to hide this excess piece. Now I'm just doing this all at once. You'll have to do it one at a time. Okay. And so here is our finished project. And I'm just going to put all of these stitch markers back into my little pouch. Always save them. You never know when you need them again. Again, you can get these on my Amazon storefront. I found 4.5 or higher star rating sellers. I have not purchased from them yet. So if you don't feel confident in shopping through them, you can at least check it out and look at how the title is. You can type it up yourself and look for them on the internet, or you can go to the hobby store. But here is our finished pattern. So this is block 5. Comment below. Let me know what you think. Click that like button if you're excited to see this blanket, and click that like button if you are looking forward to doing this yourself. All right. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.